So now it's time for us to be doing our sixth project. In this project, we are going to develop a login form by using swing components. We will learn how to create a simple login form by using the grid layout. So first, let's create a new Java project and specify the project name, login form, and don't change the other options, just click the next button. So in this section here, uncheck the create module info.java file and just press finish. So in this project, just right-click on the source folder and select New Class. Specify the package name as login form and the class name as login form, and select the checkbox for main method. Now, login form consists of username and password fields and the login and cancel buttons. So why don't we create a JFrame object by using the new keyword with login form demo as our title. And we can use Control and Enter key shortcut to import the classes. And now we can create a JPanel object to add components into it. So here we set the grid layout manager for the panel component. Now the layout manager takes 4 parameters. The number of rows, let's set it to 3. The number of columns, we'll set it to 2. And the horizontal and vertical gaps between the components, we'll set it to 15. And now let's create a static method to add components into a panel. Outside the main method, we create a public static void method that is called add components to panel. And it, well, let's see, let's give it a parameter JPanel object. In the method, we create a JLabel object that's named userLabel by using the new keyword with the user text. And we also import the JLabel class. And then we create a JTextField object, and we'll call it userText by using the new keyword. And yes, we will also import the JTextField class. And then we create a JLabel object that's named PasswordLabel with the password text. So now we can create a JPasswordField object that's named passwordText. And yes, we will also import the JPasswordField class. So JPasswordField provides specialized text fields for password entry. So for security reasons, a password field does not show the characters that the user types. So we've got to create a JButton object that's named cancelButton with cancel as our text. And let's create another JButton object that's named LoginButton with login text. Okay, so now it's time to add these components to the panel. And in order to do that, we'll use the add method of the panel for this operation. So let's add all the objects to the panel respectively. So we add 2 labels, 2 text fields, and 2 buttons. Okay, so let's call this method from the main method by passing the panel parameter. And let's complete the settings of the frame object. Set default close operation. That's the method of frame that is used to specify one of several options for the close button. And we'll use the exit on close option to exit the application. Set location relative to is the method of frame that is commonly used to center the frame on the screen. And we'll pass the null parameter to it. The set size method of frame is used to resize the component. So that'll take 2 parameters. Width set to 300 and the height is set to 150. The add method of the getContentPane method in frame is used to add components into the frame. So we'll pass the panel as the argument to it. And then finally, the setVisible method of frame is used to make the frame appear on the screen if the true parameter is passed. Okie dokie then. So up until now, we have created a frame and a panel in the main method. And then we've created a public static void method. In this method, we have created other components to be added into the panel. And then finally, we have set some properties of the frame. So, don't you wonder what it looks like? Yes, I know your answer. Let's run the code. And there it is in all of its beauty. Our frame is displayed successfully. So you can see the components on the frame. Also, the title of the frame is Login Form Demo. That's the text that appears. And we have used the grid layout with 3 rows and 2 columns. So you see the components are placed in columns and rows with the same sizes. The cancel and login buttons are, well, they're not working now because we didn't add any actions for the buttons. So let's close the window and let's add some actions to the login and cancel buttons. So we need to develop a login module that authenticates users based on usernames and passwords. So for this, we'll just create a static Boolean method to check the username and password if it's correct or not. And if the user enters username and password and clicks the login button first, it will check the data. And if this data is correct, it will display the welcome message. And if the username or password is false, then it will display the invalid username or password message. So that means we have to create a public static Boolean method, check data with username and password as the parameters. And in this method, if the username equals Java and the password equals 123, then we return true, else we return false. So we will invoke this method from the action code of buttons to check the username and password. Okay, so let's start to write the action code of login and cancel. So first, we will start with the login button. We'll add action listener as the method to the login button object. And then we pass action listener class to this method by just using the key combination Control and Enter. Now, because of the action listener is an interface, the override annotation and action performed method to be overridden are automatically added to our code. In the action performed method, we will call the checkData method by passing the getText methods of userText and passwordText objects. If the checkData method returns true as its value, then authentication is successful, and then we can show the welcome message by using the showMessage dialog method of JOptionPane class. So we pass 4 parameters to this method: parent component, message, title, and message type. The parent component is panel. Message is hello, welcome to Java Swing, by adding the username. So the title is login message. And the message type is information message. JOptionPane class also has lots of other message types. So if the checkData method returns false as its value, then the authentication is failed, and we show the invalid username or password message to the user. And we will pass the same parameters to the method except the message type. So the message type is an error message this time. So this type shows error message symbol in the message. And we add the add action listener method to the cancel button object. We pass the action listener class to this method by using the key combination Control plus Enter. The override annotation and the action performed method to be overridden are automatically added to our code, just like in the login button. So if the user clicks the cancel button, the program is terminated normally. So in the action performed method, we use the exit method of the system. If we pass the parameter 0 to this method, we will exit the program successfully. A non-zero status code in the exit method indicates an abnormal termination. So in this section, we have created a method to check the username and password. And we've also added action to the login and cancel buttons. All right, so let's run the code again. And I know you're dying to test those button actions, so let's do it. First, let's try to enter an invalid username and password into the text boxes. So let's enter, I don't know, John for the username and just anything random for the password. Invalid username or password message is displayed with the error message symbol, so that's as expected. Now let's try to enter a valid username and password. So let's enter Java for the username and 123 for the password. And sure enough, authentication is successful. And look at that. Hello, Java. Welcome to Java Swing is our displayed message. Now, if we click the cancel button, the program is terminated successfully, right? Okay. So we have completed the login form project. So, of course, you can go back in there and add some additional control for the authentication process. For example, if the user enters nothing and clicks the login button, why don't you try giving that a go? Give that a message.